Secretary Cesar Purisima, Secretary Greg Domingo, Secretary Jess Robredo, Secretary Marojas, Rene Almendras, Mr. Coyito, Congressman Martin Romualdez, Attorney Juan Bautista, Yusek Rene Limcauco, Honorable Aurelio Bartolome, Mr. Felipe Estrella, Mr. Gerardo Bromeo, Dr. Jaime Aristotle Alip, who I will be giving an assignment later on. Officers, members, and alumni of the Philippine Alumni Association of the top USA universities, fellow workers in government, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start on my speech, I will remember to thank Brother Armin and the other Christian brothers. It is not only Kundirana that they produce, they also provide good speakers as evidenced by Mr. Cuito. So I will thank him again for entertaining all of us. Today, I address a room full of people who chose to dream differently, armed with the first world university degree that could have allowed you to compete in greener pastures. Yet, you instead chose to return home cognizant of what you owed the motherland. And the motherland is waiting. Many of you chose to come back because of the vast potential here. Over the years, we have all expressed disappointment in one form or another because the potential of the Philippines had remained mere potential and not an actuality. Still, you stayed and remained hopeful that one day the economy would awaken from the slumber that seemed to not end. I think you would all be in agreement when I say that day has come. You've seen the countless times our stock market has breached heights that were previously thought of as impossible. What was once considered unattainable ceilings of 4,000 and later 5,000 in the stock exchange index are now the norm. You've heard it from the international groups and organizations, from the credit ratings agencies that have already given us 6 positive ratings actions, to the study by the Japan External Trade Organization survey, which named the Philippines as the #1 ideal destination of businessmen in Asia, whether in the manufacturing or service sectors. And I'm happy to hear that many of you echo the same sentiments. According to the latest Grant Thornton International Business Report, we have the 4th most optimistic community of business leaders. Judging by the smiles on your faces, you may look if you are smiling, yes you are, I guess that survey is also true. And there is no room for complacency. We're working even harder to make sure that the confidence of the world, and indeed of our countrymen, does not waver and continues to strengthen. Part of this includes making sure that our money works for the good of the country. Hopefully, I am correct in my assumption that if we total the individual contributions of the taxpayers here, it would amount to a good-sized slice of our revenue pie. Can I repeat that last paragraph? Hopefully, that the taxpayers here, if once totaled, would amount to a good-sized slice of our revenue pie. Hopefully. So I take this opportunity to assure you that the money you pay in taxes is working for your benefit and for the benefit of all our countrymen. We've fixed the way we spend our money, making sure we get the best results at the best price while adhering to the principles of transparency and accountability. And already, the results have been tremendous. As of early this May, our DPWH has saved a total of 6.14 billion pesos from their 2011 budget. Imagine this from an agency previously considered almost to be always one of the most corrupt. This is money that we can put towards expanding programs that work and whose benefits are immediately felt by Filipinos. Take, for instance, our conditional cash transfer program. I hear from Secretary Dinky Soliman that the DSWD has already surpassed its target of registering 3 million families in the program for this year as of March 21. You'll also be happy to know that we're spending our money on investments that pay for themselves. For instance, we're upgrading the quality of our airports and roads to make the Philippines a more attractive investment destination. We're spending 4.5 billion pesos to bring the Puerto Princesa Airport to international standards, a move that will make this area more accessible and boost local tourism. And if all goes as planned, the complete rehabilitation of NAIA Terminal 1 will be completed by the middle of next year, with NAIA 3 100% operational roughly around the same time. Our agencies are well on track in achieving their respective goals, and let me assure you that we will continue to work as hard over the next 4 years and 1 month remaining. We were able to allocate funds for these programs and projects not by raising taxes, but by creating fiscal space through good governance and the pursuit of honesty, transparency, and accountability in governance over the past 2 years of our administration has likewise brought about newfound optimism in our economy. I think it would be fair to say that those from the business sector, which counts many of you amongst its most elite members, have been the biggest beneficiaries of reforms. It is reasonable to assume, for example, that you all have stocks. The improvements in your net worth have a direct and causal relationship with investor confidence in the country, which in large part came about because anyone who was scared to look has seen the earnestness of our efforts to clean up government. Let me tell you a story. Just the other day, at a dinner, someone I actually didn't know came up to me and said, and I quote, "You know, I did not vote for you." And I still smiled. Then she said, "But I'm sure glad that you won," close quote. This was an educated, self-made person like you, and she said this because, like most of you, as I can reasonably assume, she was able to benefit from the accretion in value that came about because of our reforms. This makes me confident that whether you were believers from back in the campaign, whether you helped out in one way or another, I can now count on you to rally behind our administration in our agenda of reform. I know of your contributions to society. For example, knowing as you do the difference a good education can make, the joint alumni clubs has made it one of their foremost advocacies to widen the availability of quality education through your support of scholarship programs and similar causes. And now I hear that 4 of the country's biggest corporations have committed to invest over 2 trillion, can I repeat that? Have committed to invest over 2 trillion pesos in our economy, not in the next generation, but over the next 5 years. The business sector is making a big bet on the economy and on our people. In so doing, they are creating opportunities for our countrymen. And so to those of you who have actively participated in improving the lives of our people, to those whose dreams did not leave any of our countrymen behind, you have the gratitude of our people. Building opportunities and empowering our people are the same principles that have fueled the newfound vitality of the Philippines. Step by steady step, we have faced every obstacle head-on. We are all well aware that many of our problems have systemic roots and thus require systemic solutions. That is why I have always maintained that no individual, not even an administration, can go it alone. Fixing the system requires contributions from all fronts. I am reminded of how, just last Monday, I addressed an assembly of jeepney drivers. A few weeks ago, the volatility in oil prices prompted an appeal from them for an increase in jeepney fares. We granted this appeal, recognizing then that it was only fair to increase the rates. Now that oil prices are beginning to stabilize, they quickly, and may I emphasize, voluntarily lowered their fares by 50 centavos back to the original 8 pesos. What they had as an emergency measure, they gave back when it was no longer as necessary. This was done without going through the tedious process of negotiations. Perhaps these 50 centavos, equivalent to an extra 100 or so pesos a day for the drivers, is not such a big amount for most of us here. But to those who have less in life, it can mean a few extra meals. And they willingly gave this up in order to ease the burden on the common commuter. This generosity, this openness, and this willingness to cooperate will ensure our continued progress. I hope that I can count on the same from everyone here. If our jeepney drivers can contribute to society in such a way, perhaps I can expect even more from the captains of industry who hold the lives of so many Filipino workers in their hands. Your government is here to empower you and not to serve as a hindrance to progress. Transforming the status quo does not mean dragging down those who are at the top. It means rather lifting up those who have been dwelling at the bottom. Progress is not a zero-sum game. We want every Filipino, from those in offices in Ayala Avenue to those in factories in far-flung provinces, to succeed. I have been waging the fight for reform for a long time now. There came a time when I was ready and willing to go to jail for standing up to a corrupt regime. Changing the status quo for the better comes with risks, but it also comes with long-term rewards. We wanted judicial certainty, and so we have to go through this process of reforming a system where the well-positioned few lorded it over the rest of us, who asked for nothing more than a level playing field. We wanted to reclaim our national pride, to show the world that the Philippines is ready to take its rightful place in the community of nations. And so, we are standing our ground, prepared to defend our dignity. This is what transformation entails. Spreading our wings for the first time will cause some discomfort, but it only means that we are ready to take flight. In a little over 4 years, I will be stepping down as your president. The only thing I want out of this position is to leave the country in a far better state than what I inherited, with a government unshackled from corruption and dishonesty, with a steadily growing economy that leaves no one behind, and with an empowered and engaged citizenry much like yourselves, ready to take on the task of nation building together. I am certain that these are goals that we all share. We are well on our way to achieving this, with a government that knows what it means to serve the public, with excellent men and women like you who know a thing or two about achieving dreams, and with the Filipino people who have, for so many years, kept their hopes of a better country alive. We can pursue and fulfill our collective aspirations for this country. Let's continue to work together. Let's continue to believe in what this country can do. Let's make the Philippines into what we all desire to be, a country of potential fulfilled. Thank you. Good evening.